Alright, hey guys, what's up? This is Gold Sports, and I'm here with MLB Talk 123 today. And today we're just going to be giving you guys kind of a rundown of some Chicago Cubs news, some St. Louis Cardinals news. We're going to be talking a little bit about the MLB draft today, and just kind of breaking down some news around the major leagues. So I'll let MLB Talk 123 take it away now.
Yes, MLB Talk 123 here. Again, here with Gold Sports, and we are starting a lovable series. The name can vary, not the most important thing. The most important thing that you need to focus on is going to be a weekly type podcast type show about the Cubs versus Cardinals rivalry. A look at two complete opposite teams going in different directions. We're going to see from a huge Cub fan perspective, an expert there, and then a Cardinal fan myself perspective. So I'm going to be able to really talk about the Cardinals here and him as well with the Cubs. And then we're going to look at some rundown big things that have happened in the last week in the MLB. So, Gold Sports, you want to start Cubs or Cardinals first?
You can start out with the Cardinals. I'll see what you talk about, and then I'll kind of go from there.
Okay, cool. All right, so the Cardinals this week have had, I would say, an interesting week to say the least. A lot of injuries. More bad news. Number one, Jaime Garcia now going to get, many different doctors to check him out. He could be very well heading on the DL. You still have Alan Craig, who just got back. David Freese has become, day to day. John Jay, who was hitting 400 at one point this season, is still on the DL. Again, Carpenter still on the DL till after the All-Star break, and you still have Bergman on the DL for again after the All-Star break. We're starting an interplay here, matchup. We used to have an American League type lineup. You have Alan Craig for extra depth. You'd have Bergman. You'd have Holiday, Beltran, who's hitting absolutely amazing this year. Holiday, Freeze for call hitting great this year, and Jay, who's hitting 400. You're looking at a fantastic lineup, and Molina's had a very surprisingly powerful year offensively here. So, you look at this AL type lineup, and then you look at all the injuries that have happened and the disappointments, and then all of a sudden it's like, okay, now you're fighting to get some depth. You bring up Adrian Chambers, you bring up Matt Adams, who I'm very glad they did. I'm very excited about that guy. We can talk about prospects later or something along with the draft. But this team, there's been a lot of good surprises, a lot of speed, a lot of stolen bases. But really, it's just been really disappointing to see, hey, we're only one or two games up on 500. Maybe a week or two ago, we were in the lead of the NL Central by a few games, and now all of a sudden we're way back from the Reds. We're tied with the Pirates, and we're just fighting to get over 500. So it has been a quite disappointing week. Pretty much almost getting swept by the Mets on some days where we should have won. But we did win the last game, salvage the series there, winning one of four. And then we come here, win 2 out of 3 versus the Astros. So I have to be excited about the last two games. So overall, as a state of the Cardinals, I'm not I'm not frantic or panic or anything. I do expect them to compete all year, and I expect them to end up with a very good record. So I'm not trying to worry too much. I think they'll definitely rebound. Now, the Cubs probably have a complete different story this week, and I will let Gold Sports take that away.
Yeah, definitely a crazy up and down year for the Cardinals. It'll be interesting to see where they finish. But yeah, from a Cubs fan perspective, it's just kind of been the same old year again. Definitely below average team. We're going to be one of the worst teams in the league again. Not a lot of bright spots for the Cubs. At least we finally got Theo Epstein, and we're starting to get some young talent though. Calling up guys like a nice surprise this year was Brian LaHair. I don't think anybody thought he'd be this good this fast. Definitely, but we do have talent up and coming guys like Darwin Barney, Starlin Castro, Tony Campana. We do have some guys, but they're just not good enough right now to make the Cubs a solid team. We have started to improve a little bit after that 12-game winning streak. We're 4-6 in our last 10 games. And we should be turning around a little bit because we have a series coming up with the Minnesota Twins, who have been almost as bad as the Cubs this year. But it really doesn't even matter anymore. We're not vying for a playoff spot or anything. Pretty much this year is just, whatever happens. And it's kind of been even worse because we haven't had that many injury problems this year either. We've pretty much just been struggling with the best players we have to offer. Some interesting stories, though, will be the deadline deals and stuff that they could get done. Definitely looking at moving Matt Garza. The Cubs have said they want to re-sign him, but a lot of teams are going to be going after him. Also, it'll be interesting to see what happens with guys like Carlos Marmol, Ryan Dempster, just some of the other players like that. They still definitely still have major flaws at very many positions. Also, it'll be interesting to see if they can get this new Cuban outfielder. I want to say Jorge Soler. I think is his yeah
Yes, I
Jorge
think that's what
Soler. Yeah, there's a lot of big spending teams going after him, and it's going to be really tough for the Cubs to get him. But if they could get him, that could be really something that'd be a really nice pickup. But yeah, that's pretty much how the Cubs year's gone.
All right, so let's talk about some of these rumors going around, especially the trade deadline. I mean, the Cubs, I remember a few days ago, if I saw it right, it was something like they pretty much told teams everyone's on the table. And then there was the false report about how they wanted, they're willing to trade Starlin Castro for two impact prospects. And as a Cardinal fan, I'm like, hell yeah, I'm thinking of the names and get it done. But it was a false report. I mean, honestly, I never truly thought that the Cubs would realistically trade one of the only young, really promising players to come through the system, and they actually have some pretty good prospects right now.
Yeah, especially like a guy like Anthony Rizzo that they just got. I don't know where they're gonna be able to play him, especially with Brian LaHair lighting it up at first base right now. But yeah, they have some guys coming up. But yeah, I don't think there's any way Starlin Castro's going anywhere.
Yeah, I could not see it happening unless maybe after many many years. But I think obviously defense should still be improving and all that. But looking at the top prospects, you have Jackson, Rizzo, and Baez. Three really good prospects. I mean, three position player prospects right at the top. Are you excited about the offense that could be created possibly next year with Jackson and Rizzo? A good combo there.
Oh yeah, I mean they're definitely going to start to become a more exciting team to watch. I still don't expect anything from the win column for the next 2, 3, maybe 4, 5 years.
Yeah,
Nothing there, but they do have a lot of potential up and coming.
yeah, definitely some good future there. I thought they had an actually a very successful draft too. To be honest, I was actually pretty impressed. They went out there. I could see them getting Mark Appel. I don't know why. It just seemed like a perfect pick. And then they get Albert Almora, who wasn't expected to go anywhere beyond the 10th pick. So it's not really a surprise that he went so early. It's just I was not really expecting the Cubs to make that risky pick that early, especially with a guy from Mark Appel. Maybe 2.5 years away from the major leagues, right out of college. A top overall pick talent. Were you hoping they'd go for Mark Appel, or were you happy with the first round pick they got?
Yeah, I mean, I could see Mark Appel there, and I really wish they would have got him, but I don't think Almora was that bad of a pick. But now it's coming out that he looks like he's definitely going to be going to the University of Miami. So now you do kind of wish you did go with Appel. But in the heat of the moment there, I don't think Almora was that bad of a pick. But I would have definitely rather have seen Appel. Yeah.
So he wait. So this is the latest news that he's going to college now.
Yeah. Just a few. It was a few days ago. This is a quote from him. He just says right now his main priority is the University of Miami. Scott Boras is his agent. He's saying his main priority right now is just college, and looks like
Yeah.
he's not going to be signing a deal with the Cubs.
Now, here's what will be interesting is I know some players have said that in the past, and they have guys like Scott Boras, and then all of a sudden they wait till the deadline. And I think what he's saying is unless he gets extremely good money, he's for sure going to go to college. But I think that being picked sixth overall, I could not see the Cubs picking this guy without having some idea that, hey, if we put out this much money, I think we could sign that guy. Because now with the drafts, there's a lot of this whole offering pre-deals. The Astros offered Mark Appel a $6 million bonus. He rejected with Scott Boras as his agent, and last minute they said they made the decision for Correa in the last 30 seconds of deciding. You thought they had it all figured out the whole time. But you have all this time to think, and it was that quick of a decision. I mean, that's pretty crazy, honestly.
Yeah.
But I mean, I guess it goes down to the wire. You're looking at you could get any possible person in the whole draft. That's a lot of pressure. I mean, it's easier when you don't have as much to choose from. But
Yeah.
no, I think Albert Amore. I think he probably will sign, being the sixth overall pick. I just cannot see someone, even if he wants to go to college, is not very common to see a high schooler get drafted that high, and then just like not sign.
Yeah, but I mean, with Scott Boras, you just never know. I mean, he's telling him all the right things to say and stuff. So I mean, I think Appel is definitely the safer pick, but I mean, we'll have to just wait to the deadline to see what happens with Almora.
Yeah, I was really really surprised to see that Appel went eighth. I mean, when you don't go first and you're looking at the money situation, it starts to kind of make sense because the Mariners have kind of always been on Zunino. Gosman with the Orioles. The Zimmer was always projected to really go with the Royals. Just everything kind of fit into place. I was surprised with the Cubs getting Mora, though. I thought that Mark Appel at that point, I thought they would be very excited that he's fallen to the sixth overall pick, and I thought they would just jump on the fact that he was still available. They don't, and then Max Fried gets drafted, and then Mark Appel. So I was extremely kind of surprised, but then if you look at the money sense of it, it kind of starts to make sense about why he was drafted so late. So do you want to talk about some more of the trade deadline? Would you, as a Cub fan, rather see Matt Garza be traded or Ryan Dempster?
As a Cubs fan, I think most of us would rather see Matt Garza traded. Obviously, Ryan Dempster's been around for a few years. I think we've grown more attached to Ryan Dempster. Garza kind of coming in as the new guy. Hasn't pitched as well as Dempster. He's probably been more consistent than Dempster, but overall hasn't pitched as good as Dempster. Hasn't been here as long, and I mean, really, I think they both have about the same amount of a potential going forward. So, I mean, as a Cubs fan, I'd probably rather see Matt Garza go. But they might both even go. But it looks like the Cubs are leaning more towards keeping Matt Garza. So I'm not really sure what's going to happen there.
Yeah, I mean, I could see why though. I mean, he's younger. He's a very good pitcher. I mean, yes, Dempster's had a fantastic year this year, and he finally got his first win, I believe.
Yeah.
But I think that obviously, if I'm gonna pick as a GM, I would pick Garza over Dempster just because he's a lot younger, and Dempster kind of struggled, I believe last year, and he's gotten back into it, so that's great for him. But I think you could definitely get a better pickup of prospects trading Garza than Dempster.
Oh yeah, definitely. Garza's definitely going to get you the most there. They've even been talking maybe two big prospects and then a few maybe up to three players and two of them being top prospects for Garza. So I mean, there could be something big that goes down. I mean, especially with teams like the Yankees and Red Sox going after him. You never know what could happen.
If you could get Mason Williams from the Yankees, and I don't even know any of the other top prospects there, but I'm thinking for the Red Sox here, they got Jose Iglesias. Okay, you already have Starling Castro. I mean, some of those big teams, they got some pretty good prospects. I was actually very surprised last year when the Oakland A's and the Red Sox made that deal, and Josh Reddick was involved. Have you seen how good this guy has done this year? He's hit 15 home runs for the A's.
Oh yeah, he's definitely been a nice addition for the A's. He's been doing really good out there.
The A's have needed the offense, but you look at their lineup; it's not half bad, especially with all these kind of no names. They get Brandon Inge when he's terrible, and then all of a sudden he's just hitting fantastic with them. It's been I'm kind of slowly rooting on for the A's. You see them trade all of their good players really away, and you see their prospects if they pan out. But Josh Reddick has been really great for the Rays this year. They did have a risky draft, though. I have to admit, a very risky draft. I mean, you expect them to go for some college pitchers. They're starting to get back in it. They've got some younger guys coming up through the system. You'd expect them to get some almost major league ready type players, trying to get as close as possible. The first round pick was Addison Russell. I mean, he went a lot earlier than he was expected to go to. Yes, I know he was climbing draft boards, but most of the mocks were showing him at 23 or above. He went at 13 or 14, so that was kind of surprising. I think all of their first round and supplementary rounds were high school bats or something.
Yeah. Yeah, I think they definitely have a lot of room on their major league club for some young prospects. I was surprised they didn't go that way, but I guess it just looks like they're going to be patient with these guys and just have them ready whenever.
Yeah, I mean, it could pay off. It very well could. I mean, you look at, they got a second baseman, a shortstop, and Addison Russell, and I think they got a first baseman or a third baseman, something like that. They got a pretty good middle infield with the first few picks, but that is saying if the high schoolers sign and pan out to be what you think they could be, and that, of course, there's where the risk comes. But going back to the draft, let's just look at some of the results here. What did you think of the first overall pick? If you're thinking who's going to be picked, they're saying Mark Appel, Buxton. All year, mostly Mark Appel.
Yeah.
What were your initial reactions when you see Carlos Correa from Puerto Rico is drafted number 1 overall
Oh yeah, I was definitely shocked, but some of these international guys, we don't know a ton about them, and sometimes if you have the good international scouts and stuff, sometimes you can find some steals out like out in the international game. But
Oh yeah.
I just think it might be a little too risky to go first overall. I'd rather have a safer pick at number one, just so you don't do something real bad with your number one pick.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I personally, I was like, okay, the Astros, you got Jeff Lunghow, who was a scouting director for the Cardinals for a while, and he did a fantastic job. I mean, there's more players that were drafted from 2005 to 2008 or something like that that are on a major league roster on the Cardinals than any other team. I mean, he's done a really good job at producing and drafting really solid players, guys like John Jay in the second round, Alan Craig in the eighth round. Descalzo, a bunch of those guys have come recently from the draft. So I think, he's a great guy to have doing your draft. But I really did like their second pick. They got Lance McCullers on their second. I mean, this guy was projected to go pretty early in the first round, definitely before the 20th pick. And I wish the Cardinals would have used their 23rd pick and got that guy. But you see the Astros, you get a really young 17-year-old Carlos Correa with a lot to prove, but high expectations and some comps to like an Alex Rodriguez or a Troy Tulowitzki. And you don't play it safe getting that college arm, but then the next pick, you get someone who should have gone in the first round, Lance McCullers, a high school fantastic pitcher. So they got two high school guys, but one is a pitcher with fantastic talent, and the other is a very high upside 17-year-old shortstop who could be another Troy Tulowitzki or an Alex Rodriguez type. So I gotta be happy with the first two picks of the Astros. I think if I was an Astro fan, I'd be pretty excited about it.
Oh yeah, I'd definitely be excited, but I'm still have a few doubts. I think it was very risky, but maybe it'll pay off in the end, and it has a very high risk, very high reward here for the Astros.
Exactly. Now, if you were, say, the Astros or the GM, who would you pick? Would you pick Buxton or Correa?
Um, I would probably go with Buxton. I think he's a little safer, and there you can usually get a young shortstop, find a young shortstop. Shortstops aren't really you're not really forced to produce with your bat as a shortstop. You can always find a safe defensive shortstop somewhere. But the outfield guys, those are usually going to be your bigger guys. And with the first overall pick, I'd probably feel a lot safer taking the good outfielder over the good shortstop with a lot of risk taken there.
Yeah, I mean, I probably would agree with you. I mean, it's really hard. I'm starting to like Correa, so it's really hard for me to say it wasn't the right pick. But if I'm choosing Buxton or Correa, you're looking at Buxton, a 5'2" guy, fantastic speed, power, can pitch, combine the power, the speed, and the defense. That is someone that you really want, especially at a position like shortstop. It's like Tulo. I mean, he's so valuable because he's a shortstop. So if Correa can pan out, fantastic pick. Fantastic pick. You're looking at a Troy Tulowitzki. And I don't think anyone would pick, an outfield star over Troy Tulowitzki. I mean, unless you're maybe Matt Kemp is the only one I maybe would pick. But, Tulowitzki is very valuable, especially as position. Were you at all surprised, going down the list here, the Mariners, you have an option of a Pell, and really, out of those players, that's the only player that I think would have been maybe a better choice than Zunino. But the Mariners have kind of always been stuck on this guy, and not really expecting Appel or Buxton to be available. Maybe Correa. Were you surprised that they still went with the college catcher instead of Mark Appel at the third overall pick?
Yeah, I was a little surprised, but again, I don't really think it's that bad of a move. Seattle obviously has a lot of big needs, catcher being one of them, but also they do have some pitching needs. But obviously they've tried going pitcher before with guys like Felix Hernandez and stuff. So maybe they're just trying to go a different route here, trying to get some offense and seeing how that works out. I mean, I can see it from both sides. I think either guy would have been a very nice pick, and I wouldn't really have been shocked with either guy. But I like Zuni. I like Zunino there as a solid pick.
Oh yeah, I mean he has great power. He's a catcher. It's a very rare, sight there. A lot of the catchers have been drafted in the first round. Guys like Joe Mauer, Wieters. I mean, so he could definitely grow into a very big part of the Mariners. Then you keep going down the list. You got Kevin Gozman, LSU, fantastic pitcher. Great arm there for the Orioles, adding to the starting pitching of, you have Dylan Bundy from last year. Now you have Gozman. You have a lot of young talent in that Orioles system, just adding to those pitchers. You got Kyle Zimmer for the Royals. Not surprised they went for him. They've always liked him. They need pitching. They had Moustakas. They had Hosmer come up. They had, Will Myers, Bubba Starling. They got a lot of good young offense. Alcides Escobar. What they don't have is pitching. They make the trade for Jonathan Sanchez. They signed Bruce Chen back. But their pitching is pretty bad. It's kind of sad that their pitching struggles this much. One bright spot, which could affect all teams in the major leagues, though, is Jonathan Broxton. He's been forced to the closer role, and he's done fantastic at it. What is his chances of being traded at this point, in your opinion?
Oh, I think you got to think Jonathan Broxton's gone for sure. Obviously, he was a very nice closer for the Dodgers for a few years, and then kind of fell apart for a while. But if he's going to be coming back and pitching like old Jonathan Broxton that we knew in Los Angeles, I definitely think he's going to be on the move because I think a ton of teams are going to be going after him.
Oh yeah, and I think the Royals will realize, hey, this is still not our year yet. We're still building. They already know that. I think he will be the first Royal to be traded. It was a 1-year deal, and it's like, they give him a few $1 million. If it works out, great. We could get some great pitching, and we could get a few good prospects. If it doesn't, it was just a few $1 million, and the risk there is pretty high. So, as a Cardinal fan, I wish that Jonathan Broxton was signed by the Cardinals, and I bet as a Cubs fan, you probably would too, because their bullpen has been pretty disappointing, I would say, yeah?
Oh yeah, definitely.
They got that guy in the trade for Marlon Bird, and didn't they drop him already or something?
Oh yeah, it was something weird happened. I can't really remember the story, but yeah, something like that.
So it's like they make the trade, they get a good, decent pitching prospect that really wanted to be in the Cubs. He didn't perform, and now he's already gone. It's like the Cubs. I thought the Cubs would be better than last year, and they could end up with the worst record in the major leagues. Is that surprising to you at all? Did you think that they're going to be this bad at this point in the season?
Yeah, I definitely think everybody. I mean, we didn't really expect this bad, but I mean, it was definitely a possibility for all of us. And yeah, I mean, just another one of those years. Hopefully, we'll be able to turn around eventually. All right, we're coming up on about like 23, almost 25 minutes now. I gotta go in a few minutes, so this might be a good time to wrap it up and get some final thoughts in.
All right, so final thoughts throughout the week, I would say. For me, seeing Bryce Harper get the first walk-off RBI of his career, pretty exciting, very exciting for Nationals fans. Also, seeing Carlos Correa, kind of a historic moment there for first Puerto Rican to get drafted overall, and he's already been signed for about $5 million. Remember, Mark Appel didn't even accept a $6 million bonus. Interleague matchups, a lot of good ones to look forward to, and Lance Lynn became Major's second 9-game winner. He is 9-2 this year.
Yeah, my final thoughts is Los Angeles Dodgers something like 17-5 without Matt Kemp, having a great season with and without Kemp, still being able to keep it up. Also, the very good pitching by R.A. Dickey, picking up another win, been a great surprise this year. Should be an all-star pitcher this year, and maybe might even compete for the Cy Young this year. So that'll be an interesting story to watch. That's pretty much it for today, guys. Gold Sports, MLB Talk 123. See you later.